Hey guys, welcome back to the movie summary. Beginning of the movie, we see a remote tribal area in Malaysia in 1936. Once the market is over there, all the tribals board the boat. John, a British officer, also boarded the boat with them. There a man from the Iban tribe welcomes John to come to Sarawak. Then they go to the place where the Iban tribe lives. There John meets the governor of Sarawak. John tells him that my father was a district officer and he wanted to educate the Iban people. The government also approved it. Later my father went to war and never came back. I have come here to fulfill my father's dream. Then they go home. The officer tells John that the Iban people have invited you for dinner. Then he goes there. All the Iban people welcome him. Just then a beautiful girl comes there with wine. Drinking wine is the culture of the Iban people. If anyone do not drink the wine offered, they think they are insulted by them. John sees a girl in the back after drinking wine. He gets very attracted to her. Later he sees a traditional tribal dance. Even there he keeps looking at that girl. Too much wine causes him to vomit. Next day morning John meets the officer. He tells John about the Iban culture and how they live. The officer introduces John to the beautiful girl. Her name is Salima. From now on this girl will be with you. Because she can speak English very well. He says this girl will be like your wife. Then John is shocked and asks what it means to be a wife. Then the officer says this girl will sleep with you. Actually, John believes that he should sleep with a girl only after marriage. John rejects the girl. But the officer tells him that this girl is a sleeping dictionary which is a part of Iban culture. They assign a sleeping dictionary to British officials. And this girl will stay with you for 3 years, teaching you the local language. If you don't want to, you have to be alone. If you don't know the language, how can you teach them education? Hearing all this, John agrees to stay with Salima. But he says he will not agree to be a temporary wife. That night Salima was translating everything to John. She wants to sleep with him, but he refuses. Knowing this, the Ibans laugh at him. Then he gets angry and tells Salima to leave. Then Salima says don't follow me and leaves. That night he will be alone. The next day morning John sees Salima outside. And he says that you should go back to the people of Iban. Then the cook there laughs mockingly and says when they see her, they think she is not beautiful. That's why you didn't sleep with her. Hearing this John asks Salima to stay with him. She is happy about that. That night Salima completes her teaching work. Then they both sleep close. Then Salima asks if you haven't slept with any girl yet. To which he says I will not do that before marriage. Next day morning we see the prince. He doesn't like the English education system. Then John tells him that you play water games well. He challenges Prince to play with him. Later they both take a dip in the water. The prince will come out in 5 minutes. John comes out 10 minutes later. He then educates him that I have an oxygen cylinder, and that's why I've been in the water for so long. That night, John writes body parts in English on Salima's hand. Later they both get attracted to each other and make private time together. John can't be physically with her for long. Then Salima says that you teach me English, and I will teach you how to do this well. Then they both make private time together every day. After a few days feelings for each other will grow. Next day John has dinner with all the officers. There is the officer's daughter Cecil. She recently moved here from Oxford. Cecil thinks the sleeping dictionary culture died out years ago. John is attracted to Cecil. Then he goes home and make private time with Salima again. Next day morning we see Cecil taking pictures of those tribes. There she likes John. Seeing this, Salima feels jealous. Then Cecil's mother tells John that my daughter loves you and wants to marry you. The next day John goes into the forest to retrieve the corpses of the Iban people. They all die of an unknown disease. John comes to know that the British are secretly mining in the forest. Then he comes home. Salima will be sick. Meanwhile, all the tribals surround John. John tells them that mining is going on here without your knowledge. You should go there quickly. Then they all go to the mining area and kill everyone there. The tribes will be happy with John's help. On the other hand, Salima is also recovering from fever. Then John tells her I will be with you forever. Then Salima says tribal people will not agree to our marriage. We should run away from here and get married." To which John says, "I will take care of all that." John goes to the officer and says, "I want to marry Salima." Then the officer gets angry and tells you to stay away from her. On the other hand, the tribal king orders Salima to marry a tribal man. Otherwise John will be in danger, he says. Then Salima agrees to marry another person. Later John somehow meets Salima. Then she says, "What we thought will not happen, I have to marry someone else." Hearing this, he can't do anything and agrees to marry the officer's daughter. Later they get married. Even after a year of marriage, he cannot forget Salima. One day Cecil's father invites them both to Sarawak. There Cecil realizes that John has not yet forgotten Salima. The next day morning John sees Salima with a baby. He asks the cook who the baby is. Then he says, "That baby is your child." John gets emotional hearing this. That night he meets Salima. Then she said, "I was married to Prince. It says that he married me even knowing that I was pregnant." Salima's husband attacks John. The next day night, John secretly meets Salima and tells her that tomorrow we will run away from here. Cecil finds out about John's plan. Then she will be very sad. Still she tells him to go with Salima. Salima thinks that John will not come for her. She leaves there alone with her son. Cecil's father catches her as she runs away. Salima is also a sleeping dictionary for Cecil's father. He also likes her very much. Due to British rules, he could not marry Salima. He then gives her a hug and tells her to leave. John on the other hand is looking for Salima. Finally he finds her. A bad officer finds them and attacks them. And when he was about to rape Salima, the warrior tribe came and killed him. Now they both become happily close together. And this is how this movie ends.